There we go. Hello, everyone. Warm welcome to our SAP community call today, Monday, February 27th. My name is Lena. I'm part of the SAP Community and Influencers team, and I am moderating this call today. It's all about building up your suite qualities today for a modular and flexible SAP landscape in the future. And we have our two speakers here that you see here on screen with me. We have Stefan Batzdorf, our Head of Cross-Product Architecture, Senior Vice President and CTO of SAP S/4HANA at SAP. And we're joined here today as well by Thorsten Düvelmeyer, SAP Senior Expert Consultant, Enterprise Integration and Cloud Architect at NTT Data Business Solutions. And as always, we have 60 minutes for you to get information around SAP's suite qualities. And we have questions, time for questions towards the end, as always, as well. Stefan is going to start for the first 15 to 20 minutes, handing over to Thorsten. And then we have 15 minutes, 10 minutes for Q&A. For the Q&A part, as you all know, we're here live on YouTube. You need to be, or should be logged into YouTube with your account, so you can type your questions into the chat. And I will address the questions then to Stefan and Thorsten. So we have a lively, open discussion and Q&A towards the end. And with that being said, I don't want to take up more time. I'll hand over to Stefan to share his screen and then to get started.
Thanks a lot, Lena. And thank you, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to this session. And let me start with some introduction, with some setting the scene about where we are heading as a company and where the ecosystem is heading. The broader ERP space is more heading to become a more modular ERP, a composable ERP with more flexibilities. And also the suite qualities are a pivotal part for integration, for data exchange, and making a modular ERP feel like one harmonized suite. So with that being said, everybody talks about composable, and not sure whether if you have seen the movie Princess Bride, and there was this famous quote, "You keep using that word. I don't even think it means what you think it means." And that's especially also true towards composable, and certain people use composable in the same way as modular, which is not the fact. Everybody wants to have a composable ERP, but when it's about integration and flexibility, some customers say, well, I'm not yet there. So let's have a look what this means. So the term composable business initially was coined by Gartner, but something that SAP has been working towards for several years now with the notion of the intelligent enterprise. The building blocks of the intelligent enterprise, a platform, core solution, industry differentiators, be it from SAP or other application vendors, the business networks, everything is working across modular end-to-end business processes have already paved the way towards a composable. So in terms of core composability, we see this as the ability to initially compose your organization by aligning your business processes, your business applications, your methods of deployment with your company goals based on the current climate and your existing business strategy. And the more you as a company, the more the industry changes, the more the notion changes, the more the flexibility, the need you have to update and change the way how you run your business to keep your competitive advantage. With this, you recompose your business by evaluating and rearranging existing implementations and building blocks. And finally, we have all been in a position where we have and hold on to a lot of legacy solutions in your landscape, which have been there for years. No one quite knows exactly what they're doing, but we are all afraid of switching off this functionality, switching off this custom code or configuration. Just in case, let it run. So these applications significantly also increase the TCO across the IT landscape. As part of general housekeeping, we see that organizations would and should evaluate their landscapes and rather decompose applications which are no longer being used, in the sense of keep the core clean. For this, SAP, for example, has acquired Signavio and has the Signavio stack. And with this, you can connect to your existing landscapes, providing business process insights into where operational and process efficiency can be gained and where rather process inefficiency are realized. And this gives you then also the case to disinvest and decommission certain applications. Now, let's have a look. And as said, when we want to target a composable and modular ERP, SAP has already laid out the foundation and the building blocks with the intelligent enterprise. And everything is centered around the business technology platform, which caters, it's the integration platform, the development platform. It provides services for applications on top to be built on, but it also provides a lot of core services for bringing the applications together. On top of the business technology platform, we have our cloud ERP solution, SAP S/4HANA, in 2 different deployment flavors, private cloud and public cloud, catering for most of the ERP processes. Around this, we have our cloud solutions. We have SuccessFactors Fieldglass for the human capital management and total workforce management. We have Ariba Fieldglass and other solutions for spend management, and also exposing the business networks like the logistical business networks, the asset intelligence network. And we have the CX stack, several applications for customer relationship management, and then exposed also with the industry cloud solutions, which connect to the ecosystem and to the outside world. So when you are building and defining your SAP S/4HANA or your digital core strategy, and you move from a legacy ERP towards the intelligent enterprise, you should ask yourself your question: what are my core business processes and what are my competitive context business processes? So define your enterprise core. And these enterprise core, these are the processes that provide you competitive necessity, that drive operational effectiveness. These are the processes you have to do as a company to be effective and to run there. These processes don't provide you competitive advantage. This is just a competitive necessity. It is, for me, the financial accounting. You have to do accounting and control management accounting according to US GAAP, IFRS, local GAAP, etc. You have to hire people. You have to do the payroll management. You have to have classical materials management, simple procurement for laptops, etc., for facilities, whatever. So, and these core processes should be stable. You should center around a stable core. The innovation happens not so frequently. It's about stable processes to keep your company running. Then on top, you have processes that provide you a competitive advantage. If you are a retailer, these are the processes that differentiate you from your direct competition. This can be, for example, for an automotive OEM vendor, it's R&D, it is just-in-time production. For a financial company, it can be funds management, hedge management, etc., treasury, cash management. For an HR business provider, service-centric company, it is hiring the people. So these competitive business-specific processes are defining your competitive advantage. Here, the innovation layer happens much more frequently. Here, you turn your business and customer needs into action, and this is your agility layer. So SAP provides, with this suite, the composable architecture, we provide you around a stable core, a set of BTP applications, or business technology platform applications, cloud-native applications, that can be connected to a seamless core. We provide you cloud solutions. And what we do is we take care for the end-to-end integration. We provide you an end-to-end business process flow. We provide you integration capabilities and a seamless data exchange to connect these applications together. Here you also think about partner applications, your own development speed. Also, you could develop your own applications on the BTP connected to the core. So for all of these things to seamlessly work together, we need a glue. And this glue are the so-called Suite Qualities, where Thorsten will expose this and explain it in detail. So these are technology guidelines, technology capabilities and qualities that ensure that these modular applications feel towards the end user as a seamless application. And then we have the data layer, which is ideally for all the solutions, the HANA database, the in-memory database, or HANA Cloud. We use the data lake of Data Warehouse Cloud in order to exchange the data between those applications. Now, I don't want to go into details. You see in the bottom the 7 Suite Qualities, and we even define more, and Thorsten will explain these in detail and give you also key competitive or key criteria, what you should consider when implementing your SAP S/4HANA move. Now, just because you can change everything when you move to SAP S/4HANA, it doesn't mean that you should, and that you should not frequently change everything. So if everything is moving at the same time, eventually you will just stop. So you have to define where to innovate. Innovate where it make a material impact to your business, where you can innovate and see the results fast. Typically, you will not change your core ERP system. You will not change its processes frequently. Once your ERP is set and operational, you keep the core stable, you innovate on the outside. And this should be the core, your strong, reliable backbone for your business. It's just work day in and out. It should work, it should run. So the innovation on the stable core happens roughly yearly. You can do yearly upgrade. Every 5 years, for example, you can do major changes. And every 10 years, for example, you have a big technology shift, like what we had from ECC to S/4HANA, like this. Now, on the innovation layer, on the two-phase layer, here especially applications for line of businesses are in change. Here also your experimental applications. Here you should put most of your customization and custom code in. Do your custom code, your customization, those things that differentiate you from your competition. Do it side by side on the BTP, innovate there, and SAP is doing the same. SAP is doing the same. We have a modular architecture within SAP S/4HANA, and especially for SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud, we are innovating, providing a modular architecture with a lean, clean, and protected core. So what do? We have the stable core, which is written in ABAP, the S/4HANA core financial with finance, financial accounting, controlling, materials management, core logistics, etc. And then, of course, we are doing innovation still in the core when there are legal changes, when we provide, for example, now in finance and logistics, a value chain analysis, when we provide demand-driven MRP. These innovations we do inside the core also because it's core processes. But we are also have the need to build completely new applications. Think about sustainability management, a solution that was not there before. Think about a network-based supply chain planning for supply chain resilience. Think about certain industry cloud solutions when we redefine utilities and provide e-mobility and electrical charging capabilities. These functionality we build side by side, cloud native on the business technology platform, loosely coupled to the core, yet tightly integrated. Why? Because we do not want to disrupt the core. If we build sustainability management with a new data model inside the core, and you as a company want to adopt it, you need to completely upgrade your whole company. But with the flexibility of side by side, you can easily deploy these solutions, integrate them, have a harmonized data layer with HANA, and yet keeping the core stable. And you should do the same ideally. Keep your core clean, move your modifications and customizations out of the core, Yet you can still also do modifications inside the core extensibility, especially with the cloud-like embedded steampunk, the ABAP cloud inside S4HANA, but yet only against public APIs. And this is exactly what SAP S4HANA provides you with S4HANA Cloud in 2 different deployment flavors. Extensions that we build are built side by side next to the S4HANA, to the clean core. We have provide end-to-end business processes. The Suite Qualities are there in order to provide an integrated business processes. We are leveraging technologies of the BTP, like our AI core for intelligent technologies, embedded analytics based on SAP Analytics Cloud and Data Warehouse Cloud. We are using event-based integration with those features to provide a modular application suite. Now, I want to show you also where we are heading, and it is an evolutionary approach towards the S4HANA Cloud. It's non-disruptive yet. So currently, as said, we provide an ERP functionality based on the SAP S4HANA Cloud Core. This is the gray boxes. You have the big finance modules, the big sales modules, supply chain. Those big 2 things are extended warehouse management, transportation management with the logistics core, etc. So this is the existing functionality that you know. Already now, we provide a various set of BTP native, cloud native services. In finance, we have, for example, the advanced financial closing cockpit, 3 BTP applications, providing you the possibilities to leverage an intelligent financial close. We have cloud native applications in GRC, for example, treasury management, excisive tax. The same also in sales. We have BTP applications for subscription billing, new order management, foundation. And those are needed especially when you connect to the outside world, to the business networks. Currently, roughly about 20 to 40 various BTP applications are connected to the core. In S4HANA Public Cloud, they are seamlessly integrated. You don't even notice that you are running a BTP application. On top, we have end-to-end analytics based on SAP Analytics Cloud, so dashboards. And then we also connect to the SAP Cloud solutions like Concur, Fieldglass, SuccessFactors. In the S4HANA Public Cloud, for example, we carved out the classical HCM and only leverage SuccessFactors as HR solutions for the employee master, for talent management, and even for payroll. In the private cloud, you have the option to do this. It's optional. So what we are doing is we innovate in the core on the green line, but we also build more and more BTP applications on top, because the ERP that we have nowadays is much, much more bigger than yesterday's ERP. Think about resilient supply chain, network-based production planning. Think about an internet-based retail core and all those. These are processes that weren't there 10 years ago. So we have to innovate there. And even more, second wave, 2026 to 2028, we build more of these applications seamlessly connected. So the core is already, or the SAP S4HANA ERP is already a hybrid of ABAP core and modular BTP-based applications. I don't know a company that 100% runs on-premise, and I seldomly know a company that are 100% SaaS and public cloud. So the world is currently hybrid, and companies need to transform into this area. Now, last point is I give you an example, and this is an example of a large US-based oil and gas company where we work together with this customer to lay out especially a composable architecture for their landscape and when they transformed to SAP S4HANA. And let us start at the bottom. So they had a clear innovation strategy around BTP. BTP is the digital platform, the foundational layer. Here they consume BTP services like the AI core, analytics, cloud, and all other parts our industry cloud applications, especially in the oil and gas and especially trading utility sector, are already built cloud native on the BTP. Next to it, they also built customer cloud apps, extensibility side by side. Then they centered a clean core. They had 3 operational ERP for US, Europe, and APJ. In this operational ERP, there's a core logistics, the core financial parts. These were the ECC systems transformed to SAP S4HANA and the private cloud around a clean core. On top of it, they have centralized services. They had a service plane, a governance plan. They centralized financial around the central finance, centralized HR processes around success factors, and centralized procurement around the central procurement in this conglomerate to govern already the central services. Then they had also some startups, divestitures, and here they leveraged S4HANA public cloud for subsidiaries here. The implementation time frame quite fast, roughly about 4 to 6 months. And when they disinvested or made a carve out, they could directly exclude this public cloud deployment. So we have the capability of a 2-tier scenario, headquarters running on private cloud or on premise, whereas the subsidiary runs on the public cloud. And then on top, they leverage the networks in order to connect their company to the outside world. And this gives you a layered approach, clear separation of concerns with the processes. The innovation layer happens on the BTP. The core ERP is very clean with governed structures. And especially where you need to innovate fast, startup, investors, disinvestors, they move to a SaaS public cloud because the time to value, time to market was crucial here. With this, I'm handing over to Thorsten.
Oh, then thanks a lot, Stefan. I will try to then share my screen with the slides again. So, yeah, that here. Do you see the correct slides or is a presentation mode?
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, then thanks a lot again for your introduction. So like Stefan said, I think there are great opportunities and a new way of doing an ERP with new values, with new opportunities. But I would like to talk a bit like Stefan mentioned about how to achieve it. And again, I think that's as you all know, there's no free lunch. So we have a various new way of processing, of doing the jobs, processing an ERP. But I think there's a foundation that has to be stable that you are able to do it. So I want to talk a bit about when shall I start, or when should I start with these Suite Qualities, and why? Why is it so important? Truly, what is behind these Suite Qualities and how can I enable them or implement them? And especially at the end, should I start now, wait some more time, whatever, do it together with a project in a composable ERP? Or is it more or less important also today, like Stefan said some minutes ago, because it's not only there's a cloud-only ERP and there's no on-premise only ERP, it's more or less a hybrid option. I think it should be also then important for every customer also perhaps today. And what is such a process, or what is such a process looking like in a composable or flexible ERP? What is important? It is still there's no monolithic or one system architecture, but still for the persons that is working with such a system, such a composable ERP, it at least should look like in the UI like a monolithic architecture or UI before. So there should not be different UIs, different logins, whatever, different procedure or handling of UIs. So at least for the person working with such a system, there should be a really good way of doing it. So what do you then need for that? That is so-called Suite Qualities. And at the bottom in the invisible architecture, that is what Stefan said, that is composable. So that could be a core module, could be an S4 system, ERP and ECC, could be an SAP as a SAP service as a BTP, could be Ariba, whatever cloud solution, and that could perhaps easily be changed. And you have also some non-UI stuff working. So basically, what we like to discuss now, how all this fits together and really brings a really fantastic way in the future also for the employees, for the persons working with the system. So then, the first steps would be when and why to start with Suite Qualities. So the first question I ask myself, do I need to implement it only when I want to have a fully blown, flexible, composable ERP for all in the cloud-only world? Or is it also useful to do it today? So basically, the answer is, if you have a composable ERP, you truly need all these Suite Qualities in a 100% done way. But also today, if you only have perhaps 1 or 2 BTP apps or use Ariba or whatever, then also these Suite Qualities come also then in the game. And my idea or my proposal would be start now, learn, do it in perhaps an agile way, and then do it step by step, implement more Suite Qualities or implement them in a more detailed way. So easily, it's not only then to be used with its composable, full-blown architecture, but also today if you do some extensions based on your S4 ECC system. And the next one, okay, can I just buy it and install it on premise via CD or activate it with a single switch in the BTP? But that's also you have, and what we'll show in some minutes, there are services and governance and guidance that is prepared by BTP or by SAP. But the first way is that you really draw a picture of your architecture in the future, how you want to enable UI, how you want to enable security. So do an architecture blueprint, and then it's your work. You can do it based on SAP proposals, best practices, but you have to decide on your own. You have to build your architecture, what is fitting for your environment, for your hybrid world, and then build it step by step. So it's not easily installed or activated. You can use services, but you have to combine it together because it's also non-SAP services. The next one, is it only for SAP? So when you implement Suite Qualities, can you only use it for SAP systems, for BTP service? And that's also not the case because it's kind of open. The whole BTP environment is an open solution. So it's not only bound to SAP software. So when you build up your Suite Qualities, you can easily integrate, for example, also home build apps, what you build on the BTP, but perhaps also software vendors or SaaS solutions from other vendors. So basically, it's open. You build a stable platform for your composable ERP. It's based on the Suite Qualities, and you can also then, if you have it, use other services. The next question, is it part of an S4 project or of an S4 roadmap or S4 transformation? So basically it could be, but I think a good idea also could be that perhaps you have your ECC system or R3 system today and really start getting value out of new apps, for example, Fiori apps, CAP apps that you run in BTP, perhaps also for integrate partners or do more powerful applications that give your business more value. Then start with your Suite Qualities also before an S4 project. But at least when you are in an SAP transformation, you come to a hybrid SAP landscape, then you will need Suite Qualities at this time. But ideally, start with draw a picture, draw an architecture, start before a big S4 project. So you have your target infrastructure, perhaps you have a UI layer, your security layer, and then after that, perhaps and do the big S4 project. And it's not bound to only S4HANA Cloud, but it's useful for ECC, S4 on-premise, and every other SAP solution. So basically, it's a foundation for the whole SAP world or your whole ERP software landscape. And the other one that's perhaps I said it before a bit. Should I wait another 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years? I think a good idea is also to start today, to start to look into suite quality, to say what are the possible solutions, what fits best for me, and build up a layer in front of big projects that will come in the future. So really build your suite qualities today so that you are ready for transformations in the future. It's basically the kind of the sum of 5 questions to know what is it, when to start, and why to start. The next is what I want to talk a bit, and not on detail on every suite quality, because there are sometimes quite huge implementations or various aspects of suite qualities. I will draw some pictures or talk about some suite qualities a bit more. But that is again the list also Stefan said before. So what are the foundations? What do we really need to build up a composable ERP or business process as service, what we saw before? So obviously, what we talked about, the user has to have, there should be some really nice UI or user experience. So no different logins, no different behaviors of UIs, no different look and feel of UIs. So should look like a bit of consistent UI layer. Then really important is this security and identity management. So what you then should implement, we'll talk about in a minute, is something like single sign-on, but not only single sign-on, but also the authorizations of users in a single point where user data and user authorization is stored. So that's not in each and every system. And perhaps if a person changes his job or leaves the company, then all these systems have to be updated with authorization. So a single point for login and for authorizations make really sense. Another one also then is end-to-end process blueprints. We have to have an idea how the process will look like for the end user. So that it's not really that you don't only focus on one service or one application or only on the part of the service, but you have to have a blueprint, and that all these components of the composable ERP work together to really then guarantee an end-to-end process also in this world. Aligned domain models is another one. So that you have to have the same data objects, synchronize them, analytics. So then if you think about in the past, you have only one SAP system and all the data is in there. So you can do for sure analytics based on the systems because you have all the data in one system. If you have a composable ERP, all these data are spread across systems perhaps, and we have to bring them together to perhaps see KPIs, how your processes are working. So basically this should be a solution where all this data come together and you can do analytics. For example, because perhaps also there it could be SAP solutions, cloud data warehouse, analytics cloud, but perhaps you have other non-SAP applications that could potentially be also then a solution outside SAP, where you then grab your data and do your analytics. Again, also very important is coordinated lifecycle management. So basically you have no charm and central transport management like before, where each and every object for a change is in one system. You say, okay, transport it now to production. You wait some minutes and that's already there. But with a composable ERP, you have various services and you have to have an idea how to bring them production, how to monitor them, how to then do this integration about what Stefan talked about. So that's again more complicated and another aspect that it's not this free lunch. We have a lot of opportunities and new ways of doing business with composable ERPs, but you have to have these foundation layers of suite qualities to really do it in a safe way. And the next one, the last one is what also makes sense, perhaps not that much important like other ones like security, but it makes really sense to have one inbox. So if you have at the end SuccessFactors, own apps, S4, an old ECC system, whatever, there's job to do for users, and I think it makes totally sense to present it in a smoothly way that all these users perhaps don't get emails and clicks on links what to do. So then to really bring it to one inbox and one workflow management that goes across all these systems in the hybrid world. And let's start with the task center, what we talked about in a second ago. So the challenge is on the left side, you have various systems, and all these systems you have to do jobs. Then it could be potentially emails, or you have tabs and other systems. And it's really time consuming. All these jobs are looking a bit different. So the solution is then what could be used, or the solution provided by SAP to fulfill the Suite Qualities, the so-called task center. That's in the first part, open API, so that tasks could be added to the task center. And for sure, for the SAP solution, there are standard integrations that then really grab from the workflow system the task, and that would be fulfilled in the task center, and then the result is going back to the systems. But also for other systems, if you write your own app or you want to integrate other solutions in your composable ERP, you can then also add these tasks there and present it in a really modern way that's also enabled for mobile usage, and also on the browser. So that's kind of a screenshot, and I really said we'll get the slides afterwards. For some Suite Qualities, I added a blog. So the basic idea is on the left hand for SAP standard solutions, but what I said also for different, you can really bring them to task center, present them there. The users do their work in the task center, click on what they want to do with the job, and then it's really also handled in the system where the task is coming from. The next one, I think that's really important also when you think about users, and that users are accepting your new way of doing ERP. So what they know before, they have an SAP R3 system with a SAP GUI, and that's perhaps not the nicest GUI, but at least it's one GUI and it's always working the same. So when you do your composable ERP in the future and you have various solutions for your eyes, they're all working different. I think that's really confusing the user. So there should be a solution, or there must be a solution how to then bring that to the user that is only one UI. And the perfect approach for it, and that makes really sense from my point of view, that you don't have not only a smooth UI layer that every UI is looking the same, but also one entry point for all these UIs. So that could be in a sense a Fiori or Workzone standard or advanced edition after renaming, so that you have one BTP services where based on your roles and on your authorizations, all your apps are there. So you can access the backend apps from the S4 system or Business Suite, but also third-party apps and your apps that are then provided in the BTP as CAP service or whatever Fuma service you did in the BTP. So that is also only be possible in the cloud, because you have to collect cloud data or cloud apps and on-premise apps. And that makes perfectly sense. You have this modern UI layer based on Fiori, and there you have a really seamless touch point for all the UIs, and also then is a same way of doing your user experience for the user when you do it. The next one, I think it's also from security perspective, but also for convenience for users, very important. So you could have a lot of solutions with perhaps different login names, some per user ID, some per name, some per email. And all these users have to log in again to do their job that is then presented by different apps in the composable architecture. And there you need a single sign-on, but also a single user store with authorization. So there must be a solution that the authorization and the user and password data of every user is known in every application that is then in the composable process included. That basically could be done in the SAP world via the so-called IIS and IPS. So the IIS could act as a proxy for perhaps Azure Identity Service or whatever your user store is. So there you have the user, the name, it's active or not, user ID and the password. And you have perhaps the IPS. If you don't have a single source of truth for authorizations, but you want to create users based on LDAP roles that a user has, then the IPS could bring and really create the user and the target system. Or if you can directly enable it via central roles or central authorization, then perhaps you don't need for each and every system IPS, but if there's the need to create a user and a target system, then you could use the system. And it's really, really important also, think about this central access point, and they're also in this work zone instance. You need to know which roles has a user that it's only in sees the apps that he might use or want to use, and that you don't have this full catalog of apps, and he perhaps tries it out, and the backend says you don't have the authorization. So it really need to have one user store, and that has to be in each and every application. The next one, and I'll also have a link at the end of the slides, because there's a new solution based on Signavio for all this end-to-end process content. Do in whatever solution you want to do it, but do your end-to-end blueprints. It could be perfectly Signavio, and there's a really nice way of presenting the SAP standard content, but could also be different other tools that you use for your end-to-end process. But write them down, discuss them. I think they changed nothing like before. You have to have an idea how your end-to-end processes are working, and keep that in mind, and then really implement it with great solutions in a composable ERP. The next one is then also design, is then also APIs, domain models, event. So what also Stefan said, there is again also in this, what we saw in the picture in this business process as a service, there are a lot of lines, and all these lines, also what you see there, is integration. Could be user integration, process integration, event, API, whatever. And you need to have a lot of integrations there to really then enable this composable process or process in a composable ERP. And there's a lot of standard content, and it's continuously growing, what is then built in the integration suite, but also documentation in the API hub and all this. There's a lot of documentations. And what's also coming into place is graph. So this would be a new capability, or it would be added to the integration suite. And there you can build own applications and really grab data from the different systems in a very easy way. So basically, one proposal we want to do, build own apps built on your composable infrastructure or composable system, then take a look into SAP Graph. And there's also one block. Also, the different ways or the different data objects are more and more aligned in SAP world, so that you can then only not have to do all these integrations and mapping effort from one solution to a different one. Another one, that's only what we talked before. We have to have solutions for grabbing the data and doing analytics. That could then be based on SAP, on BTP solutions, on the data warehouse cloud, on the what we saw on the analytics cloud, but could also be in a different UI layer or different database. But find a solution for your SAP and perhaps non-SAP solutions to really have a single point of data and do your KPIs. And again, don't do it when you did all your transformations and you have this various system list, but do it before, define your target architecture, and build all your solutions regarding this target architecture, that you have the data at the end, and that you could then be what is so-called data-driven, and you could do intelligent, could act as an intelligent enterprise and do really decisions based on data. The other one, only 2 screenshots, what I also think was 3 screenshots for lifecycle management. And that's important in various ways. So SAP for me is a new solution, or a solution that's continuously growing. We have a view on all of your systems. The other one is then also cloud integration automation service. So then think in the past, you did all these integrations perhaps manually, point to point. And as SAP builds a lot of standard integrations, standard workflows, and knows all the APIs of the systems, they could really then do the integrations in a seamless way and do a lot of work for you that you don't have to do manually. There's also a BTP service. You can say, okay, I want to combine these 2 systems that have to be enabled for a specific process, and you can do it in an automated way. So that's basically also saves you a lot of effort to bring this cloud composable architecture in a way. is working. And the next one also added because Stefan mentioned it. There are these suite qualities, but integration is a kind of everywhere. So all these is not only the suite qualities, but to connect all these dots to connect all the services. Okay, and as I just saw, we have more than 3,000 APIs and 2,500 pre-built integrations. So the integration suite, is another slide here. What we saw here is that is your glue to then also not only the single sign-on UX layer, but to bring the process integration and the data integration layer together. And that really combines today a lot of solutions. You have capabilities inside. There's also, I think the graph is not included yet, but will be sometimes in summer. Another great solution, what was introduced some months ago, was this integration assessment, where you can then really do your integration in a standard way based on ISRM that gives you proposals how to use standard content or not standard content, and how to integrate it to bring your services or to let your services running. And that is for sure you have aspects of governance in your IoT platform. So it brings all this intelligent or sustainable enterprise stuff together. This is integration suite, and that's also then, I think, continuously evolving in the next months. So again, if you say, okay, you are today perhaps still on R3 system, and you climbed up the mountain, it was really hard work to bring your R3 systems to run and say, okay, now it's running. And what you heard in the last, 40 or 50 minutes, perhaps composable ERP or composable way of doing a process could bring more benefits, or like Stefan said, could also enable you to do more business, or to really enable more business power time to value in the future. And you say, okay, how can I then, could be a step forward to your composable ERP. And for sure, you have to define your business and to define your processes. That is the most important one. But the other important one could also be the technical approach. So how can I then start or do my first steps? What could be a bridge, or could be some help to really come from my R3 system on premise to a world of composable, of hybrid composable landscapes. And I would really, my idea or my proposal would really look at your suite qualities, start implementing, make your target architecture, and don't do it in a big bang approach. So today you have no suite quality implemented, and in 1 year I want to have it end-to-end perfect best fit. But more do a target architecture and then do it step by step. Perhaps introduce single sign-on with a BTP app, then introduce perhaps central entry point, and then really do a step by step, learn, do a basic edition, and do it with a new approach, and also build up your platform or build up your suite quality step by step. That you have at the end, perhaps when you have your composable ERP running, you have also the technical backbone, what is the suite qualities, to have it running in future. And I added some blocks. I only want to outline 2. The other ones will be also then in the PowerPoint you can download in the next days. One is the new open SAP course, where also the suite qualities are a big topic. So this is a second link on the left side. So that's basically, I think, really good addressed what to do and how to proceed from an integration part, but also how to implement suite qualities. And the other one is the new Signavio OPA, the processing layer. So there's a different, I think, a new and very nice UI to start from business needs, business goals to solutions, where you can there enable your end-to-end SAP best practice content and compare us with your solution. And that brings me to an end and to the Q&A session, where we can, or let's see what are the questions that you guys have.
First of all, thank you both for your time and for presenting to the SAP community. I found it very interesting, very insightful. We learned a lot. Currently, there's no questions in the chat, and I'd like to use that opportunity to ask you about one to two key takeaways for the audience. Because 50-minute presentation is a lot, and then now it's time to ask questions, and everyone might be like, "Oh, what did I now want to ask?" So maybe that will help everyone to wrap up the call. If you could maybe name one or two key takeaways each.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Lena. Let me start, and I always have three key takeaways. So first of all, SAP S/4HANA Cloud is there; it's ready. Prime time to move there, and it becomes even more modular. Second point is SAP is implementing the Suite Qualities also consistently. In S/4HANA Public Cloud, we are almost at 100%. In S/4HANA On-Premise, we are around 80% and still covering the last scope there. Go also ahead. And the third point is whenever you build up your SAP S/4HANA future system, be it in public cloud, private cloud, on-premise, please keep the core clean. Move customizations, extensibility, and special applications side by side to allow a modular ERP. We are doing the same. We are innovating also side by side outside the core in order to not disrupt your business. Thorsten.
Yeah, all right. Let's see. I think I have at least two, but I think that the first one is a bit of governance or architecture work. Well, then if we do it today, start with this today, you will really benefit from it in the next years. So don't just start implementing with your system and then do Suite Qualities. Try to think, don't think that you will implement Suite Qualities in 5 years or 10 years. So do your architecture way, how do you want to do UI, how do you want to do security, do it today. Then don't do it in a big bang project. Say, okay, I now do a half a year project of implementing only Suite Qualities. Start with it in an agile way, do your first processes, do your first Fury apps, and then build it in an agile way. And as Stefan said, I think it will be important in the future. And the last one, perhaps, really start now or really look at it and check for your project, for your system landscape, if it makes sense for you. I assume for most of the SAP customers, you don't have to do a big project now, but doing this, starting with it, build your layers for analytics, for security, for your UI, that makes really sense, and you will benefit from it. Depending on which project you will have value of it if you start today with implementing Suite Qualities.
Thanks a lot. I think that was a nice wrap up. So we can give 5 minutes back. That's brilliant as well. So everyone can grab a coffee for the next call. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time, as I said, and I hope you have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right.